And this begins race day weekend, marathon. All right, people, this clip begins the marathon build-up weekend vlog YouTube thing. So, it's Friday. It's 10:46 a.m. I'm packing everything up. We're gonna hit the road, headed to Treasure Coast, Stewart Island, whatever, Stewart, Florida. 3-hour drive. Got everything packed up. I got gels, I got food, I got coffee, I got my shoes, the race day stuff, toiletries, daily doodle book, stuff up top, and then that's pretty much it. It's only one night. So yeah, gonna head down there. We'll drive straight to the little expo center, pick up my bib, and then go to the Airbnb, and then pretty much chill for the rest of the night. It's kind of the plan. I got a 30-minute little easy run, so I'll do that too. But I'm gonna stop talking. Plan is to leave between 10 and 11 a.m. It's 10:47. So I'll open this back up in the car. People, we're driving. We have 2-hour estimated time. Arrival is 2:25. 3 hours, 7 minutes. We're sitting in a bit of traffic, so I want to talk about carb loading, because carb loading is important for the race. Everyone knows that, everyone does it. But for me, what I was thinking about with carb loading is like, I'm not gonna use that as an excuse to go eat a bunch of bullshit I would never eat, just because I'm like, oh, I need to get carbs in, so I'm not gonna go eat a bunch of cakes and donuts and shit because I'm like, oh, I need to get carbs in. No, I'm just gonna essentially eat more of what I already eat in the terms of carbs. So realistically, that's just like fruit, rice, honey, and the occasional, I don't fucking know, stupid thing that I'll eat. But I don't want to, like right before a race, you don't want to change things up super abruptly. I don't want to go eating a bunch of shit that I don't know how my stomach's going to react to it right before a race. Obviously, if you do it like 2 days before and your stomach hurts, it's like that's going to go away. You're going to go to the bathroom and stuff like that, but especially the day before, because right now it's the day before. So, like right now, I got an apple in my passenger seat. But just like apples, smoothies. Also, towards the end of the day, I guess really realistically, when I get there, I'm gonna get my bib, but I'm gonna go to the store and just kind of get liquid carbs. So I'm gonna just get orange juice and shit that my body doesn't really have to like digest, in a sense. So, like it just kind of goes. It'll be easy for my body to move that around. And then, yeah, I don't know. That's all I really had to say. So traffic's died down and we're driving again. So I'll pull this out again at some point. All right, people. Treasure Coast Marathon. What the fuck happened? Race recap. Here we go. So I'll name off the stats really quick. So you can see it real quick. Bam. All right. So overall time, chip time 3:10:38. Although the race was 26.4 some miles, so like Strava says your marathon time is 3:09. Garmin says the marathon time was 3:09. Again, doesn't really matter. It wasn't even. It's not the time I'm looking for, so I don't give a shit. But so 3:10, pace 7:17. This says 7:13. Overall, 11 out of 245 people. I got first in my age group, 25 to 29. Again, don't really care. And yeah. Yeah, 1 of 31. All right, so what happened? I'm not exactly sure, other than it was humid out that morning. Like, I think it was like 84 or 86% humidity, which I don't really know. Like, when I got down there on Sunday or Saturday, I was like uncomfortable a little bit. I was like, oh, it's humid. Like, I don't like that feeling. You kind of feel sticky and shit. And I felt that. I was like, I don't like this. And it did make me nervous. So that leads into like, I think it was a mix of humidity and just nerves. Nerves from, oh, is the weather going to be good? And then there are these giant causeways or giant bridges that The overall race elevation was only 370 something, which isn't a lot, but it was only in these condensed areas. So it was like flat, and then it was, so those bridges were pretty steep. But again, that wasn't, I was worried about them, but that's not what messed my race up, because you didn't hit the first bridge till mile 10. My race was done at mile 1. But kind of just lost my train of thought. But yeah, I think it was a mix of humidity and nerves. But going into it, mile 1 was like, I remember I was looking down on my watch. My heart rate was almost 180, which is like, when I first saw that, I was like, well, it's not like, yeah, it's high, because I was only sitting around a 7-minute mile. Like, I was hovering between 650, 7 minute. And because I was looking at my heart rate, I'm like, all right, 180. The plan was to start out at a 645-ish pace and go from there. Whether I hold that the whole race, because I can't go faster, or the main goal, 645, negative split the whole race. Like, that was the idea. But I couldn't even get down to that pace. So, was looking at that, and you kind of think like, all right, nerves, first mile, heart rate will steady down, like relatively normal. So I wasn't super thrown off just yet, although I wasn't happy seeing that. But I was like, all right, well, give it a mile or two, see what happens. And then Garmin always gives you a performance score. For those that have a Garmin, you know, when you start running, it'll give you a plus. It'll give you a plus performance score, like +3, 1, 2, +5, +6. It'll give you a 0, which is just like neutral, I guess, or it'll give you negatives. And for the past like couple weeks, probably like 2 weeks, I've been getting plus. I'll be like, start going on a run. Even like I had that 3-hour ride and I had a run off. I got a +3 performance score on that run. And I was like, let's go, baby, feeling good. Like, I was so amped up, so fired up going into this race, and then it gives me a -5. I was like, as I'm running, I'm like, yeah, that feels about fucking right. I thought it was the mile marker going off, because I heard a couple other watches, so I was like, oh, it's my mile, and then -5 performance score. Not that the Garmin is like end all be all, like this knows my body, whatever, but it's like a general, it's a good gauge, and I was like, yeah, that fucking feels about right. And it looks about right with what I'm seeing on the watch in terms of my heart rate. And I had my chest strap on, so it wasn't any different than what I was using in training. So like, in that sense, it should still be very accurate to what I was seeing in the past. So I was like, God damn. And then even the days leading up, my legs didn't feel this. And again, this isn't like something that I'd be like, this would be the make or break, but my legs never felt like fresh. I kept like, especially around my hamstring areas, like behind my knees, both my legs, like every time I go around, I'm like, they just don't feel good, which was a little disappointing, because going into all of my last races, I'd always be like, you feel snappy. I shouldn't say snappy going into the Ironman, because that one I was carrying a lot of fatigue, but my legs felt good, I remember. But in specific, just thinking about the last marathon, I remember going into that, I'm like, my legs feel fucking good. And I was like, my legs don't feel good. Race morning, I did a little warm up and a couple strides, and I was like, my legs don't feel that good. But I was like, I can push through it. It'll be fine. Like, that wasn't, if it was just my legs not feeling great, I'm like, that's not going to be the reason I don't get this time. But my whole body just wasn't having it, I guess. And yeah, so then, yeah, mile 1, 7 minutes. Well, I guess I can look at the splits. So, of the actual race, just looking at Strava, mile 1, 6:56, heart rate 172, which is should not have been what that was. Mile 2, 6:57, mile 3, 7:01. Mile 3, 7:01, heart rate 173. And it just never, like, it just wasn't accurate to what I was seeing anywhere in training. So I can look back, pretty much held a consistent 650s to like 6:56, 57, 7:01, 6:56, 54, 48, 36. I ran a 6:36 at one point. Again, it doesn't really fucking matter. But 43, 56, 7:04, 42, 48, 58, 58, 55, 01, 50, 51, 65, or 6:55, 7:01, 7:02, 7:30. And then towards the end, like, when you revisit those hills, and at that point I was like, I still gave a good effort, and I pushed up the hills and stuff like that, but I didn't have the drive or the will to, like, really dig deep to, like, get that much faster, because honestly I was like, I don't even really care. Because I was also thinking about it during that time. I was like, I don't even really want to get, I don't want to scrape by and try to get like a 2:59, because I was like, I don't even want that to be, I was like, I just don't even want that. So I still pushed. Like, I did throw up around mile 24, just a little, like I was still pushing and stuff, but like I just didn't feel, the body just was not there on Sunday, physically or physiologically, it was just not there. And you know, it's just, that is what it is. I don't know. But I can go back to, so the last like actual training run, I'm looking at the Strava one from my little run from the day before. My heart rate was running high too, but I was like, well, it is humid, because that day I was like, it is humid. I just ate, which when I eat and then go on a run, heart rate trends a little bit higher. Kind of feel that in your throat, like acid reflux. I don't fucking know, but, and I literally said on the thing, I was like, not even gonna lie, was not stoked with this little shuffle today. I wasn't. I was pretty disappointed with how that little run went. It was just over 3 miles, and I was like, that felt like crap. My legs felt like crap. My heart rate was high. I was like, not happy with that, but I was like, it'll be okay by tomorrow. It wasn't. So I guess, well, let me look at this. So that run I was just talking about the day before, where I was like not happy with that, the average heart rate was 133, and my average pace was 8:57, which for that pace is high. So I was running, mile 1 was 8:24, mile 2 9:02, mile 3 9:21. Mile 3 9:21, my heart rate was 132. Mile 2 9:02, my heart rate was 134, which you might think like, oh, 130s, that's a low heart rate. And it is a low heart rate, but not for that pace. Because literally the day before that, let me show you the stats on this one. So afternoon run, super easy, 3.65 miles, so it was even longer. And the average pace was 8:27, average heart rate was 127. So not only was my pace faster, my heart rate was significantly lower, and the run was even longer. Yeah, mile 1, 8:43, 8:39, 8:36, all in the 120s. And then, so I was like, that feels good. Like, you're building up close to 7s. You're like building up, like I remember I was running a couple of high 7s, and your heart rate's still in the low 130s. I was like, that's cool, like that's exciting. And then the last like meaningful run I had with marathon pace miles, so it's on Strava, but the actual mile times aren't accurate because I was using the lap button on my watch, because I was like, you'd run a mile and then jog at 200 meters or 100 meters or something. I was just kind of jogging for a minute and then I'd go again. But the paces aren't actually accurate to the times I was running. But the heart rate, the overall heart rate for that entire run was 150. To see the actual paces, I had to go into the Garmin app. I don't totally remember. I'm not even going to do that. But like the first mile was 6:30 something. And then I just built down to where I was running like 6:30 something, and then 20s, 20s, 20s. And the last mile I remember was 6:20. And my peak heart rate for that entire run was 171. And that was on that last mile, the 6:20 mile, where I was running up a hill. I was running over a hill, a bridge or whatever. So my heart rate spiked going up the bridge. But overall, like I was seeing a high 150s and a low 160s that entire run with all those marathon pace miles. And I was like, that's really exciting. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go out to this marathon and hold 620s. But I was like, I can probably build into that pretty fucking well. Like, again, because the idea was start at 6:45 and then build from there. hold that for however many miles. Like if I was running in 6:45, my heart rate's at like 140, which it wouldn't have been. But obviously I'm going to pick it up. But the idea was feel it out, go from there. And start the negative split with the idea that like the true race, like you're not really struggling until like mile 20, mile 18, 19, 20, and then you're really pushing. But honestly, I felt like I was pushing the whole time, and the pace was not reflective of that, or of what I wanted it to be in my head. But yeah, so like all those training runs, I was running those 6:30s, 40s, low 20s heart rates, sitting in a good position, and then you come into race day, was not in a good position. So again, this is what it is. Some days are your day, and this day just was not my day. Because like my last marathon, it was very easy to be like, well, I straight up started out too fast, and I did. I was running like 6:30s before mile 10. I was just fired up. And then I blew up at like mile 18, 19. But yeah, this one was just like mile 1. I knew I was like, well, like I said, it was like I didn't totally know because I was like, maybe my heart rate will settle out. And I didn't want to be so negative right off the bat. But by mile 3, when things were still looking like shit, I was like, all right, this is just what it's going to be today. And then the struggle was like, I mentioned this on my Instagram story, the struggle was then, all right, this race is nowhere what I thought it was going to be. I don't even want to do it. I was like, I just want to, I knew a couple people in that race, which was cool, like through social media. But one of them, I was like, around that time, I was like, shit, should I just like start running backwards and meet up with this dude and just run with him? Because at this rate, I was like, this sucks. I was like, this just sucks. But no, I didn't do that. And you just kind of push through it. So that was a little bit mentally like challenging, I guess, of just accepting, all right, this isn't my day. This race is not my day. Rather than just kind of pushing with, or just giving what I have that day. And that's what I did. So I'm happy about that. I can't be mad. Like, if I quit or whatever, then I would be mad. I would be very disappointed in myself. But I know I wasn't going to do that. As much as there is a part of me that was questioning, do I want to actually finish this race? I knew I wouldn't quit. I wouldn't DNF. I'm not just going to quit a race because I don't feel like doing it. Mentally, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like it. No, that's a loser's mentality. So we pushed through that or whatever, and then it's raining outside. Yeah, I'm just kind of, there was a glimmer around mile 10, 11, 12, where I did kind of think something was coming back to me, but it didn't. That was, I guess, around when I was running the lower, like 640s. But still, I was like, my heart rate's not reflective of, I don't think, what it should be. Yeah. So I was like, maybe it's coming back to me. It never did. And then when you come out on, and there's another part where you're running along this straight that's like, it's one of those like islandy type deals where like the land's here, there's the bridges that we went over, and then this long ass road that's just like all beaches. There's trees and buildings and stuff, so the wind's being blocked, but that was a gnarly headwind going out, and that was for a few miles. So there was that. Again, that's not what made or break. That's not the thing that would make or break my race, but there was a gnarly headwind out there. But the positive of that is on the way back you get that tailwind. Even though it's funny because you don't feel it, you don't feel really anything, but on the way out, it was aggressive, but on the way back you're like, I don't feel it, but I know it's there in terms of the tailwind. So that's like the positive negative to that, but yeah, and then so kind of enough about that stuff. But the dude that won the race ran a 2:48, and then second place ran a 2:53. So it would have been cool, like had I actually ran the race I was kind of supposed to. I could have got second, third, maybe. I definitely wouldn't have been in the 2:48 territory, that's for sure. Unless like I saw the dude and just could really dig deep, but I don't think so. So no, I don't think I could have done that. But I think I could have got second or third for sure, which would have been cool. Smaller marathon, so it doesn't really matter, but just to be like, oh, I placed second there, be cool. And the other thing that's nice, and another thing I just want to talk about is I have a coach. Coach is Parker or whatever. And it was nothing like, the fact that race went negative was nothing in regard to him, because through his guidance being the training, I am in the best shape of my life. And again, it just falls down to like, that's just what it was on the day. The humidity, nerves or whatever, just physiology wasn't there on that day, I guess. But it's nice because even he was like, yeah, like, had you had your race, like, you could have been mixing it up with those dudes up front, which would have been cool. So now it makes me feel better because I believe in myself and I believe what I think I was capable of. But of course, you would assume that I would be on my side and I would say that. And it's a lot easier to be like, oh yeah, I could do that. But the results don't show it. So having someone that actually knows what they're talking about be like, yeah, you were kind of capable of that is nice. So it makes me feel better. But yeah, it sucks to have the 2 back-to-back marathons. But you know what are you going to do? More fuel to the fire. And I also talked about this on Instagram. It's like, part of me thinks it just has to be that way. Because if I want to motivate and inspire people, this is a great way to do it. Don't give up when you fail. Anyone that's successful in anything is like, I got knocked down, kicked in the face 100 times, but I just kept going. I just kept going. That was the only difference. So leading into that, and I'm just going to keep fucking going. And you know, it just makes it more fun. If like every single time I was running a race and I just did amazing, it wouldn't be boring. Obviously, it'd be pretty exciting. Be like, oh, I was doing good. But the times you do bad, it makes the good times that much better. And something I would always say, I should probably get used to saying this again in my head, but when I first started social media, was with the ups, with extreme highs come extreme lows, and so on and so forth, and just goes up and down. It just keeps happening. With extreme highs come extreme lows. And I'm not in some extreme low or anything like that, but it is a low. It does fucking suck. And the other day, I was definitely like, on Tuesday, I was feeling it. I was like, what the fuck? It's just obnoxious. I want to prove to myself I can do it. I want to see the numbers. I want the things I do to be emblematic of what I can actually do. And then equally, it's like, it's just a good credential to have. It's good for social media. As maybe goofy as that sounds, but it's like when you're going into college, you take the ACT or the SAT or whatever, you want to do as good as you can on that test to have a good score to get into a good college. Same thing with this. Like, if you want to talk with, in my head, how this works is like, if you wanted to talk to a brand or whatever, and be like, hey, I ran a 4-hour marathon. This is why you should work with me. It feels like a weak credential. And this is all from my angle. Like, I want to actually be good at these things. So for me, I know I can do better and I expect better of myself. So I want to have a good credential. I want to have the best credential I can get or whatever. So a 310 is just not good enough. Not in my head, not for me, because I know I'm better than that. And which leads me into another thought of like, a lot of people were like, that's still a really good time. That's faster than I can do, whatever. And yeah, you're not wrong. Like, 310 is a fast time. If I ran a 310 on my first marathon, I would have been blown away. I ran a 334 on my first marathon and I was ecstatic. I was like, holy shit, that's flying. And then the second one, I ran a 324 and I was like, holy shit, I'm fucking flying. Averaged like a high 7-minute mile. I was like, this is insane. But I just know that I'm capable of more. I know my fitness level is capable of more. And it's not to discredit a 310. It's just, I'm just not happy with that. I'm not satisfied with that at all. I can sit here and be like, yeah, that's cool. I'm like, good time for that day with how shitty I guess I felt. Which I did kind of feel crappy. Sure, cool, but by no means am I happy with it. So, and don't take that personally if you're one of the people that were kind of like, hey, it's still a good time. It is a good time. It is a good time. It's just different expectations, different whatever, different different levels, I guess. I don't know. It's just not a time I'm happy with, frankly, especially for a solo marathon. Or I could put it this way: if I ran a 3:10 marathon in the Ironman, I'd be happy with that. My Ironman marathon was 3:33, and I was happy with that. I think that was pretty good for an Ironman, considering all the things you do before that and how shitty your legs feel. So if I can run a 3:10 marathon come Ironman Jacksonville in May, I'd be happy with that for sure. I'd be ecstatic. I'd be like, that's fucking sick. But for a solo marathon, it's just not going to cut it. Plain and dry, black and white, it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. Not for me. So we're going to keep on keeping on. We're going to keep working. Eyes forward on Ironman Jacksonville. And then from there, we'll see what happens. But it'd be cool to qualify for... I won't qualify for a champion, like the world champs in Kona this time around, but it'd be cool to do that, to make that a goal at some point. So we'll see kind of how things go after this Ironman, and then what scheduling should look like for future races. But I will definitely be revisiting a solo marathon for sure. But I guess to talk like long term, I would like to qualify for an Ironman Champs race to go to Kona. And then once I do that, part of me feels like I would kind of be satisfied with the Ironman stuff. Like I don't necessarily want to like go to a level where you can go pro. I don't really think that's something I'd want to do at the current moment. Doesn't seem like it, at least. But what I would like to do is then only focus on the marathon and then really try to crank out some crazy times. That's kind of what the thought process is in my head with the Ironmans and the marathons. Because right now I'm kind of doing a bit of both. But realistically, the whole reason behind doing this marathon I just did was to just go under 3 hours. Just to know I can do it. And just to feel good about like, alright, I got this time. Which I didn't get the fucking time again. But that's where I'm kind of like, we'll see what happens after this future race in terms of like when the next marathon would be. Obviously, I'm not going to do one over the summer. Especially not in fucking Florida. It'd be cool to do the Chicago Marathon, but again, like, if I do another Ironman Florida, the Panama one I did last year was right around that time, so I wouldn't do a marathon around that time. Which I think that if I did that Ironman in Panama again, like say I did do good enough there to qualify for a championship race, or to qualify for Kona, it wouldn't be for 2027. I think it would be for 2028. Because Kona would be around the time of that race for 2026. So it would be for 2027. I'm wrong. So not 28, 27. I think that's how that works. Honestly, I don't really know. I'm not, I don't know. But if the priority list is Kona, then become an absolute dog in the marathon, then Kona has to come first. So I would put the marathon to the side for right now. So we'll see what happens, but it's kind of where my mind is around that. But who knows, maybe I'll go under 3 hours in Jacksonville. Definitely not. Unless my legs are fucking made of steel. But yeah. Another little talking point I was thinking about when I was at that race, that was the first race I've gone to completely on my own. Wouldn't recommend it. It actually kind of sucked. It's way more fun to do these things with people around. Because even had I got my time, once I finished the race, like I crossed the finish line and I was like, cool. I was like, obviously I wasn't happy because of the time, but I was also just like, cool. Like, what's next? I guess I'm just going to go drive home. So it definitely wouldn't have been as good or as fun had I got the time then and there, because it was just me. Obviously there were some people I knew there from social media and stuff, which was cool, and there was a dude I used to work with that was there, so that was cool, but it wouldn't have been the same had I had like friends or family there. So part of me too was also kind of happy I didn't get the time then, because I was like, it's not as fun. It's fun to share those types of moments with people So that's a good little learning lesson for me and for anyone else. But the mindset behind this marathon again was just strictly business. I want to get this time, and that's it. But I didn't even get the time, so whatever. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of things I was thinking about. I don't know if I hit on all of them. I wanted to make sure. One, I did want to talk about that, like the solo races, kind of cooked, kind of lame. Have some good connections. Don't always be so independent lone wolf. I'm talking to myself right now, because as independent and lone wolf as I am, and as much as I'm fine with spending time on my own, it's not how I would think that's not how you want to be for the rest of your life. And it's not how I want to be for the rest of my life. So kind of little moments like that, I'm like, yeah, should probably make more time to be with people. And then I wanted to make sure that there was no blame being put. Or like people wouldn't think like, oh, your coach isn't that good because you messed up your time. Not true. Not true. It was just, he again got me in the best shape I've ever been in my life. And we're going to continue to build, which is exciting. And then continue to get in even better shape. But this is what it was on the day. There's really nothing else to say about it. Nothing he did, nothing I did in specific that like messed it up. It's just what it was on the day, and that's just how it goes. We're just gonna keep on keeping on, move up from here. And then I want to just talk a little bit about the race, kind of why I'm kind of like dumbfounded a little bit of like, I don't know what the fuck happened. But that happened. And then, yeah. I wanted to talk about carb loading, but honestly, I do think a little issue I made was eating and drinking too close to going to bed, because the race started at 6 in the morning. I woke up at 4 in the morning, but I remember laying in bed still drinking orange juice, water, and then I ate like a fuck ton of dates. So I think that I did that too close. Like I didn't think my stomach was fully digested going into that morning, because then in the morning I had coffee and I had more electrolytes. So I feel like my stomach, generally when I go into a run, especially a big one, like I want my stomach to feel kind of empty. I don't like feeling like anything in my stomach, because that kind of throws me off. And I didn't feel empty, so to speak. So there was that too, and a little bit you feel that in your throat. So I did kind of feel that a little bit. I didn't like that. Again, was that the make or break? No. I think it was just a lot of little things that led to the performance I had on Sunday. So I think that was kind of one of them. I did go to the bathroom in the morning, which was super important. But, yeah. I don't know. And then but I didn't eat anything out of the norm. I just ate like fruit and orange juice. That's pretty much what I've done before all my races, is like eating a bunch of dates, orange juice. I always have beef and rice and stuff like that. I wanted to get like something solid in my stomach, and then, yeah, like I felt carved up, so I didn't feel flat or anything like that. But yeah, no, just is what it was. Is what it was on the day, and that's just how it goes. So, is it embarrassing? Not necessarily. Only because I know I'm not talking out of my ass. If my stats and my data didn't tell me like I could run around a 250 to 255, I would have never, well, one, I never did say it. I never said before the race, I'm going to run a 250 marathon. In my head, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't even want to say it out loud. But obviously now I'm saying it now. I'd be embarrassed if I was just lying about that, but I wasn't talking out of my ass. So there's that. And yeah, it's just what it is. You just give what you got on the day, and that's all you can do. So you take the fucking punches and keep rolling with them. Underdog mentality. Oh, whatever. I don't even know. Oh, I don't know. I'm sick right now. Body kind of aches, and I feel like I can't totally think straight, so I'm going to cut this off now. I guess another thing too is I don't like the Alpha Flies. Not a fan. My feet, I have socks on, but both my feet got mutilated. 2 times, and maybe they got mutilated the second time because they weren't fully healed. Either way, I don't like the Alphaflys. They have no side-to-side stability. Anytime you go around a turn, I feel like I'm going to break my ankles. And I'm just not a big fan of them. I don't really like them. So they have like 50-some miles on them. If someone wants them, let me know. I'll give them to you for free. Or maybe a $5 or a high five. Or you can buy a Daily Doodle shirt and I'll give you the Hey, that could be cool. If someone buys a Daily Doodle shirt, you might get a pair of Alphaflys that are semi-used. I don't know, I could do that, maybe actually. Could be a good incentive to buy. I guess speaking about the Daily Doodle shirts, the price of them will be dependent on how many people buy them. Because when you order them, the more shirts you buy, the cheaper it is per shirt. So if I buy 5 shirts, it's going to be a lot more expensive than buying 30 shirts. But I ran a couple polls on Instagram. I've done it in the past because I've been working on these for a long time, but I haven't been working on them every single day, which is why it's been a long time. I've just been doing like little willy-nilly things. But just recently I ran a poll the other day, and there was like probably like 70 or 80 people that voted on it. So say 80 people bought the shirts. That could be a good, like not a super expensive shirt per person. But it also depends on if there's color in it and if there's like stitching or if it's like print like this. But print like this doesn't last, like it's all cracked up and stuff. So we'll see, but yeah. But yeah, that could be a good incentive to buy. So then the price per shirt would go, or if I buy more shirts, then it's cheaper for you to buy, and then you have an incentive is maybe you get a pair of Alphaflys. Who knows? Size 10.5. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking because I don't have anything else productive to say other than, I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know what happened. But we're going to keep going. We're going to keep rolling with it. Roll with the punches. It was a good training day. It was a good data day. And that's all it is. Don't try not to put so much pressure on the fact like it was a race and whatever, but it was just another training day. It's not that big of a deal. It was just training for the Ironman Marathon is all. So yeah, we'll be back. And the day I do run a marathon to my full limit and potential, it's going to be a sweet fucking day. It just wasn't Sunday, and that's okay. So we're going to keep rolling with it and lead by example. And the example is, don't be a fucking quitter. I'm not going to go cry in the corner. You can feel through your emotions, but the Daily Doodle for today was you have to work with it to work through it. And you got to work with it to work through it, and we're going to work through it, and that's okay. So we're going to keep showing up, we're going to keep getting better, and then by the time I run my next solo marathon, I'm going to be that much more in shape, and then my first under 3-hour marathon might be that much better. Who knows, maybe I'll run at 2:10. Not really, that's a joke. But yeah, we're just going to keep on keeping on, keep our head high, and keep working, baby. Even though today's a rest day because I'm sick and my body hurts. So, yeah. Have a great day. Get better today. And if you watch this far, I love you.